I've just come from the kitchen, and...
Quiet, Monica. You're breaking my concentration.
Clive, this is more important than your silly hobby.
Damn and blast. Now I'll have to start all over again. Haven't I told you never to interrupt me while I'm creating?
Oh, but you're always creating. I have to speak with you sometime.
Very well, very well. What is it?
Mimosa's preparing mutton for dinner. Again! I told you we had company coming tonight. They'll be here at any moment.
They should be thankful for the free meal, want it or not. I won't they don't leave a smidgen on their plates.
But if we could only have a nice joint of beef for change. Or even lamb.
The price of beef and lamb is outrageous. I won't pay.
Darling, it's not as if you can't afford it.
My money is mine. I do not intend to dissipate it on the needy. Don't see why we have to have guests anyhow. Plenty of hotels in Bermuda. What they want is a free vacation.
Darling, this has nothing to do with the guests. I mean, why can't we have a nice joint of beef? Or
I don't see you getting any thinner on your usual fare, Monica.
Oh, what? Why you even waste my time talking to you? How can you be so close-fisted about money? Compared to you, Ebenezer Scrooge was a diamond Jim Brady.
Lord Wickenham, I just came from the kitchen, and...
You two, if it's about the mutton staffing.
It's about Mimosa.
Is she complaining or what?
No, of course she's not complaining, sir. I am.
About what? If you find your workload too strenuous or your wages insufficient, let me remind you there are plenty of women who wouldn't mind a gusy job as a housekeeper on this estate.
My task and compensation are quite suitable, thank you. What I'm complaining about is that it's not only improper and a well-run household to have the parlour maid do the cooking, it's also risky when the maid is inexperienced in the preparation of food and mimosa.
Nonsense. Anyone can cook a leg of mutton. Cooks are expensive. But I do intend on holding some interviews to replace our recently departed Dora. One of these days, just not this week, I'm far too busy.
With your hobby again?
Not again, still. I don't appreciate the interruption.
Yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir.
And please see to it that Mimosa doesn't go berserk with the spice rack this time. Just nice, baked, plain mutton. None of her adornments, understand?
I'm certain she won't, sir. Not after the last time.
For the last time, I wasn't throwing the leg of mutton at her. I was simply brandishing at her, and it flew out of my hand. Miss Stafford, Nancy, drat that woman. Sweet and serene on the surface, but nasty heart deep inside of her. Nasty heart. Don't tell me. You just come from the kitchen, right?
Why, no, sir. From the front door. You have callers.
Blessed! Can it be those freeloading guests already? Well, don't bother me with them, Remley. Just show them to me.
Begging your pardon, my lord, but these are not the invited guests.
Oh? Then who in the world are they?
The police, Lord Wickenham, Detective Inspector Braddock, and his assistant sergeant, Miss Three.
The police? I didn't send for the police. And to my knowledge, there's been nothing criminal going on in my household. That is, if you don't count Lady Monica's raspberry approach and stalking our larder.
I do believe, sir, that they're here because they were sent for, however.
Sent for? By who?
They insist it was Lady Monica.
Nonsense. She'd have told us she had sent for the police. That is, I think she would have told me. After all, I don't suppose a man can be arrested for not serving his guests high-cost cuts of meat, now can he? Oh, why do I bother to conjecture? Bring them in, Remley. Bring them in by all means.
At once, my lord.
Simplest thing to do is ask them why they're here. Mimosa, until you come in there. You startled me. Tea, you said. Oh, well, let me think here. There's Lady Monica, myself, and, Algie, our son, if he ever does stop playing tennis long enough and to visit his own home. Drat.
Drat, sir.
The blasted guests, and no telling when they'll arrive. But Lady Monica seems to be expecting them momentarily, so you better make some more watercress sandwiches.
How many guests, Lord Wickenham?
Let me think here. There's Lady Monica's sister, Fredonia, and her annoyingly effervescent daughter, Chloe. And, Miss B.B. Cavendish, that designer woman. And, Miss Jasmine Perdue, the lady from Alabama that Monica met on a cruise or someplace. I can't think of anybody else.
That French gentleman.
What French gentleman?
Mr. Poray.
Oh, Mimosa, you don't mean Monsieur Pauly. Pierre Pauly?
Yes, that's the man, my lord.
What in the world makes you imagine that he would be coming here?
He has already come, Lord Wickenham. I saw him strolling about in the
most awkward. Are you quite certain?
His appearance is extremely distinctive.
I wonder who invited him, especially with Miss Cavendish coming.
Perhaps she invited him. They are engaged to be married after all.
Were engaged to marry Mimosa. That's what makes things so bloody awkward.
Ew.
Well, it's not my affair. I'll let them deal with it. Oh, so how many does that make for tea?
Oh, the family and 5 guests, so that's 8, sir.
Drat. Hope the watercress holds out. But certainly don't be getting into any of the potted meat spreads. Food bills have been sky high lately. Oh, I say. Did I do that the other day?
Don't! Please, sir, it's quite all right now.
Damnation, girl! I wasn't going to strike you again. Oh, why, it's the police. I hope you don't imagine. Why, it's awkward to say such words with the constabulary in earshot. Could be quite misconstrued if not sufficiently explained.
Shall I take his statement, Inspector Braddock?
Perhaps later, Sergeant Trudeau should it prove germane to the circumstances if Detective Inspector Benjamin Braddock, Lord Wickenham, my assistant, Sergeant Trudeau.
Delighted. No, wait, hardly delighted. I'm rather nervous around policemen, but I do bid you a most cordial welcome.
Will there be anything else, my lord?
Oh, no, thank you, not at the moment. Now, Inspector, I do feel I should explain about what you've just overheard.
Not absolutely necessary, sir, but if it would be...
Thank you, it would. Now, as you see, 2 evenings ago... Oh, but please, both of you be seated. There, that's better. Now, as I was saying, 2 evenings ago, my maid, the young girl you just saw here, and I were having a sort of employer-employee altercation in the kitchen. She had served a capon for dinner, quite a nice capon, actually, but I thought I'd said mutton. Well, I specified mutton. So as to emphasize my point, I went to the fridge and grabbed the leg of mutton, brandishing it at her, saying something like this. This is what I mean when I say mutton, not capon, mutton. The joint was rather slippery, and
You lost your grip.
the joint struck on the foil. Deucedly awkward moment for the both of us. I apologized, of course, and that should have been the end of it. But then, just moments ago, when I was trying to get a closer look at her bruised forehead, well, she must have misunderstood my movements, and reflexes being what they are,
I believe that clarifies matters quite convincingly, my lord. Just one of those silly occurrences that occasionally pop up to plague domestic tranquility.
exactly right, sir. Thank you. Oh, I say, has she been taking down everything that I've been saying?
Wouldn't surprise me. Her speed writing is quite miraculous, but I do think no further note-taking will be necessary at the moment on that.
Whatever you say, sir.
Much obliged, Inspector. It is quite difficult to speak when one feels every grunt and hiccup has been logged for posterity. But now, as for your presence here in my home, I'm at a loss. Almost confounded, really. You say you were sent for.
Well, I've not yet said so, Lord Wickenham, but yes, we were summoned here this afternoon by rather odd message hand delivered to our Hamilton headquarters.
Extraordinary. I can't imagine who in the life would... Oh, but I say, this is written on my personal stationery.
That is why we didn't dismiss it as a prank.
A joke. It must be a joke. The work of an unbalanced mind. Or for the lack of a better description, just a capital M. I wonder if my wife...
Oh, wonder if your wife... What, Clive?
Monica, you startled me. I didn't see you come in. You must be taking sneaking lessons from Mimosa. Oh, but let me introduce you people. This is Detective Inspector Braddock and his note-taker, Sergeant Trudeau, my wife, Lady Monica Wickenham.
Lady Wickenham.
How do you do?
Charmed, I'm sure, but... the police! Here! Clive, what have you been caught at?
Apparently, they were summoned here by you.
The Wickenham estate on Public Tail Beach is one the police should hurry up and reach. There's something rather evil that you must cease, which may require the attention of the police. And I don't understand. What does this mean?
That is what we hope to determine, Lady Monica. Its meter is suggestive, is it not? And the final pronunciation.
Why, it's a limerick, isn't it? I remember it well from our Gaelic holiday.
Yes, how foolish I've been. The M doesn't stand for Monica, it stands for Mimosa.
But why would our maid summon the police? I mean, why would anyone summon the police, of course? But most especially our maid.
You don't suppose it's because I didn't fly with the mutton the other day?
I suppose it's possible, but why wait until today to lodge a complaint?
Suppose we have her in here and ask the young lady.
Capital idea, Inspector. I will fetch her at once.
Oh, please be seated, Inspector, Sergeant. Can I offer you something? A drink, perhaps? But you're not supposed to drink on duty, are you? Or is that when you're investigating an actual crime? Excuse me for babbling. It's just, we have guests here at any moment, now the police being here and all. I'm quite at a loss of how to comport myself.
A small glass of tonic water would be most appreciated, Lady Monarchy.
Especially on a scorcher of a day like today.
Oh, let me get it for you. The servants will be far too busy soon to bother them. Oh, do you take ice?
Ice? Isn't that rather unusual? Hot or not, in a British household, icing the drink is almost unheard of.
Well, we have an American guest coming, Miss Jasmine Perdue.
Cool.
She's from Alabama, where I understand they even put ice in their coffee. I thought I'd have some on hand, just in case, you know. Oh, for me?
My pleasure, Lady Monarchy.
Thank you, Inspector. How did you know I prefer bourbon, Inspector?
I observed you at the mine already a fortnight ago. You were holding forth the superior delights of Saramatic whiskey over the usual Scotch rye. Assuming your contention to be truthful, I quite naturally chose the bourbon.
Why? Do you know, that almost reminded me of Sherlock Holmes. The way you said, I mean. So fascinatingly analytical and sure of yourself.
Oh, man, please don't get him started.
Now really, Alma.
Mind you now, he's a perfectly darling inspector, but when he thinks there's a high-bolting mystery to be solved, I swear, he's itching to put on a deerstalker cap and start smoking a calabash pipe.
I see nothing wrong with employing deductive reasoning when the occasion warrants.
Or even if it doesn't, more's the pity.
What utter nonsense! Pay her no mind, Lady Monica, she exaggerates, of course.
Excuse me, the little class said something about mysterious methods. You thought might be some assistance.
Aha! May I assume from your unusual manner of speech that you are a foreign-born person of Hungarian extract who's only just recently learnt our language?
You may not. I've been licking stamps for the past 15 minutes and can't seem to get the glue off my tongue. See now, what did I tell you?
Well, it sounded Hungarian.
You must be Inspector Braddock. I'm Nancy Stafford, the housekeeper. There'll be a wedding in a fortnight, and I was hastening to get the invitations ready for the morning post. Oh, I just adore weddings. Who were the lucky couple?
Really, Alma, that's none of our business.
Can you be absolutely certain?
Of course not,
Oh,
but...
no worries. It is the wedding of our son Algernon to his Phoebe Cavendish.
Not the famous fashion designer. Oh, I'd adore to be able to afford one of her designer frocks. Elegant, that's what they are. Your son is a lucky man.
Alma, I seriously doubt he would avail himself of her designer frocks. Would he?
Oh, really, Inspector? No, I must say it is a ludicrous image.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me for that mysterious message. I really must get back to my stamps. I say, don't you have a sponge pad or some such? Tongue licking is so unpleasant. It's gone dry, bone dry. Until I get the new shipment of fish from the government, I'm afraid there's just no water available in the house. Haven't been able to bathe for the last 24 hours.
Nancy, no water and guests due at any moment. Why was I not informed?
I thought you knew. I told Lord Clapp about it late yesterday afternoon. He said nothing to you about it.
Oh, not a word! Oh, Clive is all-consuming hobby. Sometimes, I think I could just take his unabridged dictionary and brain him with it. Oh, there you are, you wretch! How did you fail to inform me there's no usable water available for our arriving guests?
No usable... Oh, yes, I reckon I have been a bit remiss. Yes, Nancy told me yesterday that our dearly departed Dora cooked all the fish in a water tank, so we can't be certain they're not free of mosquito larvae.
Cook the fish? That's criminal! The utterly stupid woman.
I suppose that's why Nancy fired her.
So you're the reason we only have Mimosa to do the cooking for a house full of guests. I would have perhaps had to fire you in return.
Miss Jasmine Perdue.
Oh, Monica.
rest after your trip.
Oh, but aren't you going to introduce me to all these lovely people?
Of course! This is our maid, Mimosa. My husband, Clive, who you already know. Our housekeeper, Miss Nancy Stafford. And of course, Remy must have introduced himself upon your arrival at the front door, and Inspector Detective Braddock and his assistant, Sergeant Friedel.
The police! What happened?
Nothing at all, Miss Perdue. Merely a routine shake-up on a puzzling matter. There's nothing to concern yourself about, I assure you.
Well, that is a relief. In the movies, whenever the cops Larry shows up at the British mansion, someone's just been bumped off. Oh, dear mate, has someone been bumped off?
No,
They're what?
An American colloquialism, Mimosa. At least I presume that's who you are.
Confound it, Inspector! I went to go get Mimosa. Why would I come back with anybody else?
Clive, you might just be a bit more civil, even if it goes against your nature.
Here now, what's stuck in your craw, Monica?
You have a house full of guests, do? No water for them today, because you didn't tell me that fish had been cooked by that stupid Dora, and getting you to prep the money for a decent meal is like trying to pull teeth from a tiger shop. At the rate you're going, my dear, you'll be lucky if you're not bumped off before tea time.
Excuse me, Monica, but what has cooking fish got to do with my not bathing?
Bermuda has no wells.
So there's no fresh water here.
Except for when it rains.
So all the buildings have whitewash roots for special rain getters.
The rain is stored in tanks, usually underneath the building in the cellar.
But mosquitoes breathe in standing water, so the government supplies fish to eat the larvae in the water before they feed it.
Unfortunately, our dearly departed cook Dora thought they were to be used for meals.
So now, no one can take a bath till some new fish arrive.
Did you folks all rehearse this or what?
Bermuda gets a lot of tourists.
Explaining matters to them becomes a sort of reflex.
I beg the Lord's pardon, but I really must start getting things ready for tea.
And so you shall, young lady, just as soon as we examine a sample of your handwriting.
Oh, Inspector, I really cannot believe Mimosa composed that mysterious message.
No, but it was written phonetically, in a way that points to Irish origin.
Unless that's what someone wanted us to assume.
What mysterious message?
Show her the note, Lord Clive.
Don't you have it?
You still had it in your hand when you went to fetch the maid, sir.
Oh, you did, Clive. I remember distinctly.
Oh, yes, I must have set it down on the kitchen counter when I went to go get her. Mimosa, will you go fetch it like a good girl?
Excuse me, but I would think that is, quite wise, my lord.
After all, if that is a handiwork, what a splendid opportunity to get rid of it.
Yes, how foolish I've been. Only accompany her to make sure nothing happens to it.
At the front door, my own.
I still have a half a lot of stuff, Slick.
I must apologize for such an unusual welcome upon your arrival, Jasmine.
Oh, dearie me, don't. It's ever so exciting. First, the lovely crowds, then the marvelous mansion, and now a touch of mystery. It couldn't be more exciting if you'd actually planned it. Oh my, look at this glorious view of the sea. But didn't I understand you to say the house is only a step from the beach?
Oh, well, technically, it is. Except that one step would carry you down quite a distance from the balcony.
Oh my, that must be a 250-foot drop.
It's 76 meters.
Isn't that the exact same height?
Yes, but it sounds less precarious that way. Now come along, you must let me show you to your room.
Oh, not just yet, Monica. I'd really like to stay and enjoy the view a little longer. All that sea and sky, and the air just smells so wonderfully fresh.
Very well, if you prefer, but I simply must see what's going on in the kitchen. If you'll excuse me.
Oh, certainly.
Oh, thank you.
Miss Phoebe Cavendish.
Where did everybody go?
Perhaps arrived too early.
I assure you, Mr. Cavendish, this room was wall to wall people a moment ago. Please, make yourself at home. Let's see where everyone has gone.
Guess who?
Pierre, what are you doing here?
Well, my sweet Bibi Chazant, can Pierre be far behind?
But this is impossible. I thought you returned home to Paris after you shunned our engagement. Can't you take no for an answer?
Your lips may say no, but that look in your eyes, it tells me.
1,000 times no! No, stop trying to put your arms around me. You're worse than Pepe Le Pew.
Ma chérie, what man could resist your charm? Your loveliness, you are.
For the last time, Pierre. Our engagement is over. Finished, done, fini.
You cannot mean that.
Oh, of course I can. What does it take to get through to you? Oh, I'll admit it. I was enraptured with you for a while. You look so dashing in your naval uniform. But ever since your operation, you've let yourself go to something terrible. Look at those trousers of yours. What fashion designer would dare let herself be seen in public with you?
We need not be seen in public then. We shall have the delicious secret romance, meeting only by moonlight beneath the whispering palm trees.
Stop! Enough! What's done is done. It can never more be between us.
And why can it not, may I ask?
Because I'm engaged to marry Algernon.
Ah, a momentary aberration on your part. Algernon is a boy. A woman such as you requires the masterly romancing of a man of the world.
You're wrong, Pierre. What I need is a husband who knows how to groom himself perfectly for every social occasion.
Boy! And how is my beautiful fiancé on this glorious day?
You were saying, Sherry?
I say, monsieur, what in blazes are you doing here?
Wooing the woman I adore.
Well, stop it right now! Bibi has promised to me. You have a lot of nerve busting in here.
Cavalry never busts into a room, unlike this hearty British athlete.
No, darling, wait. Don't touch me. Not till you showered. At least.
And which of us did you liken to Pepe Le Pew?
I'm sorry. I shall go and shower at once. Of course.
I'm afraid that'll be impossible, no, Master Algernon. We better drain the water tanks and store mistakenly beside the fish. Miss Cavendish, the others will be here momentarily. Lady Monica sends her apologies as she was not here to greet you.
Quite all right, Remy. Thank you.
I say, no shower. This is beastly awkward. Wouldn't have worked up such a sweat on the courts if I had known.
Mother does seem to be a storm on the way. Perhaps the tanks will be refilled before you know it.
Who are you?
I'm Jasmine Purdue, a friend of Lady Monica's.
Oh, you must be that Alabama person. How do you do?
I was just admiring your glorious view of the balcony and getting an earful at the same time, I have no doubt.
Well, you and Monster Free don't exactly lower your voice in.
He has thought we were alone, Mademoiselle Perdue.
I say, what vehicle is she talking about? What were you guys talking about before I arrived?
It's nothing, darling. Really. If you say so, Miss Cavendish. Now you see him as
Miss
a
Fidelia Custody and Miss Chloe Custody.
Pierre? What are you doing here?
Wooing the woman he adores!
But isn't that just a bit unsporting?
The British are sportsmen, Chloe. Never the French!
Even so, I think it goes beyond the sporting spirit. For my part, we would like it as some fiancé's former fiancé!
Study not the name of your sister, Fredonia. I am here upon my own invitation.
How totally gauche of you, Pierre.
And why should a friend of the family not drop by to pay a call?
You were my father's patient, never his friend!
You forget that your famous father's surgery saved my life, Algernon. I shall forever consider him a friend.
Oh, you friend! I find your presence here an outrage. I should advise one about having removed from the premises.
Now, really, Fredonia.
Fredonia's right. You have no business being here. If Monica won't have you ejected, I shall throw you out myself.
I say, a rather turbulent welcome for you and your mother, Chloe.
Things always tend to grow turbulent when Mother is around, I'm afraid.
The absolute cheek of that Frenchman, coming here knowing I'm affianced to Bibi.
Still in all, it's easy to understand how he feels, Algie. When one has a love that seems unattainable, it somehow becomes all the more attractive.
I know what you mean.
My love!
My sweet
Algie!
Chloe!
Wait! We must be careful. Someone might see.
I don't care anymore. Let them see. If Father doesn't approve of our being wed, I'll marry you anyway. Damn the stupid inheritance!
Now, Algie, be practical. There is no way you could support a wife without your father's money. I mean, darling, you're not good at anything. What possible kind of employment could you secure?
But Chloe, I simply can't endure being without you. If Father didn't have this silly notion about consanguinity.
But that's ridiculous, Algie. He knows I'm Mother's adopted daughter. It's not as if we share the same bloodline.
But nevertheless, he insists it would be scandalous. I begged, urged, pleaded.
Threatened?
Chloe!
What a thing to suggest. Well, nothing else seems to dent his stubborn hide.
Don't cry, darling. It'll all be okay and soon.
Algie, there's nothing short of death would get you your father's inheritance. How can everything be all right so soon? How?
Don't worry your pretty little head about such mundane matters. Just trust me and keep loving me, and it'll all be over in no time.
You sound so certain, darling. Suddenly, I'm afraid.
Well, I have a plan.
What plan? They're coming back!
I do say it, Inspector. I don't know where that blasted message is. I set it on the counter, and when I went back, it was gone.
But I'm sure Mimosa...
Impossible. I had her by the arm when we went to go get it. I would have seen if she had done anything to it.
Going to be a big disappointment for the handwriting expert.
Oh, cheer up, Sergeant Sweeto. Perhaps our mysterious message writer will be sporting enough to send another letter.
Who wants a cocktail?
I certainly would. This entire situation is preposterous. Quite preposterous.
And if it weren't, Auntie Fred?
Oh, she'd have one anyway.
Really, Monica? Say has this new French water. But there does seem to be plenty on the way. And quite a wind whipping up besides.
By Jove, she's right. Better get these doors closed.
I say, how long have you been out there?
Oh, not long at all.
My, what a big is People grow in Alabama. Which juicy little scenes have you been memorizing now?
I don't have the faintest idea what you mean, Miss Cavendish.
Who wants ice?
Oh, I'd like ice.
Here now, Mimosa. My wife is not including you in the general invitation.
Well then, perhaps I'd venture on see to the
interrogated by the police.
Under the circumstances, I'd say she's behaving rather splendidly.
I agree.
Especially after that conch the governor laid on her bean.
The governor, you say?
Algernon was referring to me. But as to why he brought up the mystery.
What mystery? Is it something juicy?
Oh, I'm rather tired of telling the tale. Monica, darling, will you do the honors, please?
So am I, darling. Perhaps, Inspector, the Sergeant will be kind enough to send Miss Cavendish a carbon copy of the police report?
If you'd like, Lady Wickenham.
Lord Clive, I know this is probably a vain hope, but how many people have access to your personal stationery?
Anybody who has the ability to open a drawer. I don't keep it under lock and key. Why would I?
Well, still in all my suite, you almost never leave your desk. Someone must have had to sneak in there after you've gone to bed.
It must have been that dratted maid. Sneakiest female I've ever seen. Moves like a cat. Never makes a sound.
But certainly, Father, anyone can master the art of tiptoeing.
Maybe it was you. After all you wear those stupid sneakers.
Why sign it with the initial N?
Perhaps it stands for mysterious.
Or merely for mischievous? Oh, nothing mischievous about it, Chloe. It had a sort of warning to it, or a sound of danger.
Oh, this is positively giving me gooseflesh. I do wish I'd seen it.
Yes, it was written in a way that points to Irish origin.
Now, no, Lord Clive, we've been all over that already. If Mimosa didn't want to be found out, she'd hardly give us such a definite clue.
I wonder now, could someone be trying to point the guilty finger at her? And if so, why? Does Mimosa have any enemies anyone knows of?
Only those who've had her cooking.
But I do hope she can make proper tea sandwiches.
What, Monica, you seem to have forgotten a drink for yourself.
Oh, well, yes, I had one, if I could only remember where I set it down.
I believe that's it on the coffee table, Lady Monica. It looks like straight bourbon.
Why, so it is! Nothing like good grain alcohol on a blustery day like so, and we certainly do seem to be in for an extraordinarily heavy dousing.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Inspector.
I can't like another stout. If all I do is get my lips apart. Would anyone mind if I went on the balcony and started facing upward with my mouth open?
Nancy, just take my drink, darling. I haven't touched it. Oh, we'll make a fresh one.
Oh, thank you, Mom. Where is it?
Oh, on the coffee table.
Ah! Oh, dear me. We are in for it.
Couldn't come soon enough for me. I've never been so sticky in my entire life.
Darling, the wood is stinky.
This is all positively scary. I really could use a drink now.
Oh, here now, it tastes positively foul with the glue from your stout. Here, let me make you a wine spritzer instead.
Why, thank you, Lord Wickenham.
Clive, you astound me. Since when did you become so helpful? You usually bring people everything, even to sharpen your pencils.
Remy's far too busy. A storm of this magnitude, he has to lock up every window in the house.
Oh, someone had it closed off the balcony. I'll just see if the kitchen name.
Oh, no need, Remley. Mimosa never opens a window. Likes it positively torrid in there.
I'm surprised you people will have central air conditioning in this climate.
It never really needed it. It blasted narrow island. It gets sea breezes most times of the year, so air conditioning would be quite superfluous.
Oh, and expensive.
Do not tease the good doctor, Monica. I admire a man who is careful with his money.
Excuse me, but did you say doctor?
Father's a neurosurgeon.
A world-famous neurosurgeon.
Actually saved my life not too long ago, for which I shall be forever grateful.
Nonsense. Just a simple cervical laminectomy infusion. Just takes a confounded long time.
I do hope this house at least has Latin rods.
Actually, it does. This high on the cliffside would be sitting ducks in a thunderstorm otherwise.
I didn't hear the weather forecast. Was this storm expected?
You seem so intent, Inspector. Is something about the weather important?
Well, if our mysterious and ominous note writer knew a storm was do?
Oh, balderdash, what does a storm have to do with any of it?
He might have removed the lightning rods.
Oh, dear me! I second the motion. This house is on solid ground. I hope, what with the rain and all that wind, and are situated on the brink of a cliffside.
Oh, it's mostly coral, which is really strong as granite. I think. I mean, the coral islands do seem to weather hurricanes nicely.
But buildings, the people I must spot.
I wish you hadn't said that.
But it's true.
That's why I wish you hadn't said it. Lady Monica, might I use your telephone?
Here now, it's my telephone. I pay the bills around here.
Oh, not exactly cheerfully.
Well, whoever it is, might I use it?
But ladies, check the weather forecast, isn't it, Inspector?
Actually, I was about to phone a lady friend. She's a bit of a cat, I'm afraid, and I thought it'd make sense she arrived home safe in this storm.
Very well then, Inspector.
Would you care to sit down, Inspector?
Thanks, but this won't take long. Hello, might I speak with Miss Magoo, please? Thank you. Maisie? Oh, her roommate. But when do you expect her? Oh, really? How very odd. When she does return, tell her I called, all right? Thank you. Here's a job interview about leaving us.
Well, I certainly hope she glamours up a bit more. A librarian and looks it more's the pity.
Oh!
Hair in a bun.
Oh!
Eyeglasses.
Oh!
What a
Don't mind. It's really not happening to these people, I'm sure.
To a Frenchman, romance is always pertinent.
Here, one more romantic peep out of you, and I swear. Now, didn't we settle this matter out in the kitchen? Can't allow to stay on his visit so long as he does not attempt any more amorous advances.
But by being a Frenchman, he will. No doubt.
Why, how very flattering of you from Donya.
I do wish this awful storm would let up, all that wind, and thunder, and lightning were starting to give me the creeping willies.
You mean that impending doom sensation? I know exactly what you mean.
Algie, what sort of doom?
The front door, Bill.
Nice little half a hundred steps, Slick.
I must apologize for such an unusual welcome upon your arrival, Jasmine.
Oh, dearie me, don't. It's ever so exciting. First, the lovely crowds, then the marvelous mansion, and now a touch of mystery. It couldn't be more exciting if you'd actually planned it. Oh my, look at this glorious view of the sea. But didn't I understand you to say the house is only a step from the beach?
Oh, well, technically, it is. Except that one step would carry you down quite a distance from the balcony.
Oh my, that must be a 250-foot drop.
Oh, it's 76 meters.
Isn't that the exact same height?
Yes, but it sounds less precarious that way. Now come along, you must let me show you to your room.
Oh, not just yet, Monica. I'd really like to stay and enjoy the view a little longer. All that sea and sky, and the air just smells so wonderfully fresh.
Very well, if you prefer, but I simply must see what's going on in the kitchen. If you'll excuse me.
Oh, certainly.
Oh, thank you.
Miss Mary Cavendish. Where did everybody go?
Perhaps I arrived too early.
I assure you, Miss Cavendish, this room was wall to wall people a moment ago. Please, make yourself at home. Let's see where everyone has gone.
Guess who?
Pierre, what are you doing here?
Where my sweet Bibi Chazons, can Pierre be far behind?
But this is impossible. I thought you returned home to Paris after you shunted our engagement. Can't you take no for an answer?
Your lips may say no, but that look in your eyes, it tells me.
1,000 times no! Now stop trying to put your arms around me. You're worse than Pepe Le Pew.
Ma chérie, what man could resist your charm? Your loveliness, you are.
For the last time, Pierre. Our engagement is over. Finished, done, fini.
You cannot mean that.
Oh, of course I can. What does it take to get through to you? Oh, I'll admit it. I was enraptured with you for a while. You look so dashing in your naval uniform. But ever since your operation, you've let yourself go to something terrible. Look at those trousers of yours. What fashion designer would dare let herself be seen in public with you?
We need not be seen in public, then. We shall have the delicious, secret romance, meeting only by moonlight beneath the whispering palm trees.
Stop! Enough! What's done is done. It can never more be between us.
And why can it not, may I ask?
Because I am engaged to marry Algernon.
A momentary aberration on your part. Algernon is a boy. A woman such as you requires the masterly romancing of a man of the world.
You're wrong, Pierre. What I need is a husband who knows how to groom himself perfectly for every social occasion.
Boy! And how's my beautiful fiancé on this glorious day?
You were saying, Sherry?
I say, monsieur, what in blazes are you doing here?
Wooing the woman I adore.
Well, stop it right now! Bibi has promised to me. You have a lot of nerve busting in here.
Cavalry never busts into a room, unlike this hearty British athlete.
No traveling, wait. Don't touch me. Not till you showered. At least.
And which of us did you liken to Pepe Le Pew?
I'm sorry. I shall go and shower at once, of course.
I'm afraid it'll be impossible, no, Master Algernon. We better drain the water tanks and store mistakenly destroyed the fish. Miss Cavendish, the others will be here momentarily. Lady Monica sends her apologies as she was not here to greet you.
Quite all right, Remy. Thank you.
I say, no shower. This is beastly awkward. Wouldn't have worked up such a sweat on the courts if I had known.
But there does seem to be a storm on the way. Perhaps the tanks will be refilled before you know it.
Who are you?
I'm Jasper Purdue, a friend of Lady Monica's.
Oh, you must be that Alabama person. How do you do?
I was just admiring your glorious view of the balcony and getting an earful at the same time, I have no doubt.
Well, you and Monster Free don't exactly lower your voice in.
We had thought we were alone, Mademoiselle Perdue.
I say, what earful is she talking about? What were you guys talking about before I arrived?
It's nothing, darling.
Really, if you say so, Miss Cavendish.
Now you see him as
Miss
a
Fidelity
result.
Custody and Miss Chloe Custody.
Pierre, what are you doing here?
Wooing the woman he adores!
But isn't that just a bit unsporting?
The British are sportsmen, Chloe. Never the French!
Even so, I think it goes beyond the sporting spirit. For my part, it was right as some fiancé's former fiancé.
Study not the name of your sister, Fredonia. I am here upon my own invitation.
How totally gauche of you, Pierre.
And why should a friend of the family not drop by to pay a call?
You were my father's patient, never his friend!
You forget that your famous father's surgery saved my life, Algernon. I shall forever consider him a friend.
Not you, friend. I find your presence here an outrage. I should advise one of us having written boo from the premises.
Now, really, Fredonia.
Pedonia's right. You have no business being here. If Monica won't have you ejected, I shall throw you out myself.
I say, a rather turbulent welcome for you and your mother, Chloe.
Things always tend to grow turbulent when Mother is around, I'm afraid.
The absolute cheek of that Frenchman, coming here knowing I'm affianced to Bibi.
Still in all, it's easy to understand how he feels, Algie. When one has a love that seems unattainable, it somehow becomes all the more attractive.
I know what you mean.
My love!
My sweet
Algie!
Chloe!
Wait! We'd best be careful. Someone might see.
I don't care anymore. Let them see. If Father doesn't approve of our being wed, I'll marry you anyway. Damn the stupid inheritance!
Now, Algie, be practical. There is no way you could support a wife without your father's money. I mean, darling, you're not good at anything. What possible kind of employment could you secure?
But Chloe, I simply can't endure being without you. If Father didn't have this silly notion about consanguinity.
But that's ridiculous, Algie. He knows I'm Mother's adopted daughter. It's not as if we share the same bloodline.
But nevertheless, he insists it would be scandalous. I begged, urged, pleaded.
Threatened?
Chloe!
What a thing to suggest. Well, nothing else seems to dim his stubborn hide.
Don't cry, darling. It'll all be okay and soon.
Algie, there's nothing short of death would get you your father's inheritance. How can everything be all right so soon? How?
Don't worry your pretty little head about such mundane matters. Just trust me and keep loving me, and it'll all be over in no time.
You sound so certain, darling. Suddenly, I'm afraid.
Well, I have a plan.
What plan? They're coming back!
I do say it, Inspector. I don't know where that blasted message is. I set it on the counter, and when I went back, it was gone.
But I'm sure Mimosa...
Impossible. I had her by the arm when we went to go get it. I would have seen if she had done anything to it.
Going to be a big disappointment for the handwriting expert.
Oh, cheer up, Sergeant Sweeto. Perhaps our mysterious message writer will be sporting enough to send another letter.
Who wants a cocktail?
I certainly would. This entire situation is preposterous. Quite preposterous.
And if it weren't, Auntie Fred?
Oh, she'd have one anyway.
Really, Monica? Celine has a new fresh water. But there does seem to be plenty on the way. And quite a wind whipping up the sun.
By Jove, she's right. Better get these doors closed.
I say, how long have you been out there?
Oh, not long at all.
My, what a big is. People go in Alabama. Which juicy little scenes have you been memorizing now?
I don't have the faintest idea what you mean, Miss Cavendish.
Who wants ice?
Oh, I'd like ice.
Here now, Mimosa. My wife is not including you in the general invitation.
Well then, perhaps I'd venture on see to the tea sandwiches! Cheeky girl, and what have you tolerate her, Monica?
Well, the poor girl has been thrown out today. Suspected of sending dire notes, open interrogated by the police.
Under the circumstances, I'd say she's behaving rather splendidly.
Especially after that conch the governor laid on her bean.
The governor, you say?
Algernon was referring to me. But as to why he brought up the mystery.
What mystery? Is it something juicy?
Oh, I'm rather tired of telling the tale. Monica, darling, will you do the honors, please?
So am I, darling. Perhaps, Inspector, Sergeant will be kind enough to send Miss Cavendish a carbon copy of the police report?
If you'd like, Lady Wickenham.
Lord Clive, I know this is probably a vain hope, but how many people have access to your personal stationery?
Anybody who has the ability to open a drawer. I don't keep it under lock and key. Why would I?
Well, still in all, my sweet, you almost never leave your desk. Someone must have had to sneak in there after you've gone to bed.
It must have been that dratted maid. Sneakiest fume I've ever seen. Moves like a cat. Never makes a sound.
But certainly, Father, anyone can master the art of tiptoeing.
Maybe it was you. After all you wear those stupid sneakers.
Why sign it with the initial M?
Perhaps it stands for mysterious.
Or merely for mischievous? Oh, nothing mischievous about it, Chloe. It had a sort of warning to it, or a sound of danger.
Oh, this is positively giving me goosebumps. I do wish I'd seen it.
Yes, it was written in a way that points to Irish origin.
Now, no, Lord Clive, we've been all over that already. If Mimosa didn't want to be found out, she'd hardly give us such a definite clue.
I wonder now, could someone be trying to point the guilty finger at her? And if so, why? Does Mimosa have any enemies anyone knows of?
Only those who've had her cooking.
But I do know she can make proper tea sandwiches.
What, Monica, you seem to have forgotten a drink for yourself.
Oh, well, yes, I had one, if I could only remember where I set it down.
I believe that's it on the coffee table, Lady Monica. It looks like straight bourbon.
Why, so it is! Nothing like good grain alcohol on a blustery day like so, and we certainly do seem to be in for an extraordinarily heavy dousing.
Yes.
Thank you, Inspector.
I can't make another spout. If all I do is get my lips apart. Would anyone mind if I went on the balcony and started facing upward with my mouth open?
Nancy, just take my drink, darling. I haven't touched it. Oh, we'll make a fresh one.
Oh, thank you, Mum. Where is it?
Oh, on the coffee table.
Ah! Oh, dear me. We are in for it.
Couldn't come soon enough for me. I've never been so sticky in my entire life.
Darling, the wood is stinky.
This is all positively scary. I really could use a drink now.
Oh, here now, it tastes positively foul, the glue from your stout. Here, let me make you a wine spritzer instead.
Why, thank you, Lord Wickenham.
Clive, you astound me. Since when did you become so helpful? You usually bring for remedy for everything, even to sharpen your pencils.
Remy's far too busy. A storm of this magnitude, he has to lock up every window in the house.
Oh, someone undressed on the balcony. I'll just see to the kitchen then.
Oh, no need, Remley. Mimosa never opens a window. Likes it positively torrid in there.
I'm surprised you people will have central air conditioning in this climate.
It never really needed it. It blasted narrow island. It gets sea breezes most times of the year, so air conditioning would be quite spurious.
Oh, and expensive.
Do not tease the good doctor, Monica. I admire a man who is careful with his money.
Excuse me, but did you say doctor?
Father's a neurosurgeon.
A world-famous neurosurgeon.
Actually saved my life not too long ago, for which I shall be forever grateful.
Nonsense. Just a simple cervical laminectomy infusion. Just takes a confounded long time.
I do hope this house at least has Latin rods.
Naturally it does. This high on the cliffside would be sitting ducks in a thunderstorm otherwise.
I didn't hear the weather forecast. Was this storm expected?
You seem so intent, Inspector. Is something about the weather important?
Well, if our mysterious and ominous new writer knew a storm was due.
Oh, bold ass. What does a storm have to do with any of it?
He might have removed the lightning rods.
Oh, dear me. I second the motion.
This house is on solid ground. I hope. What with the rain and all that wind, and are situated on the brink of a cliffside.
Oh, it's mostly coral. Which is really strong as granite. I think. I mean, the coral islands do seem to weather hurricanes nicely.
The buildings, the people I must describe.
I wish you hadn't said that.
But it's true.
That's why I wish you hadn't said. Lady Monica, might I use your telephone?
Here now, it's my telephone. I pay the bills around here.
Oh, not exactly cheerfully.
Well, whoever it is, might I use it?
Bit late to check the weather forecast, isn't it, Inspector?
Actually, I was about to phone a lady friend. She's a bit of a cat, I'm afraid, and I thought it makes sense she arrived home safe in this storm.
Very well then, Inspector.
Would you care to sit down, Inspector?
Thanks, but this won't take long. Hello, might I speak with Miss Magoo, please? Thank you. Maisie? Oh, but her roommate. But when do you expect her? Oh, really? How very odd. When she does return, tell her I called, all right? Thank you. Here's the trouble of you, hopefully, Miss
Well, I certainly hope she glamours up a bit more. A librarian and looks it more's the pity. Hair in a bun. Eyeglasses. What a
Don't mind. It's really not pertinent to these people, I'm sure.
To a Frenchman, romance is always pertinent.
Pia, one more romantic peep out of you, and I swear!
Now, didn't we settle this matter out in the kitchen? Can't allow to stay on his visit so long as he does not attempt any more amorous advances.
But by being a Frenchman, he will. No doubt.
Why, how very flattering of you from Doña.
I do wish this awful storm would let up for their wind, to thunder and lightning were starting to give me the creeping willies.
You mean that impending doom sensation? I know exactly what you mean.
Algie, what sort of doom?
Beautiful blonde lady!
Oh, but the bloody dagger!
It was a pistol shot.
Who drew those drapes across the French doors? Inspector, is he?
Yes, I'm afraid he is.
Is it?
Dave!
Bloody shot! Stop!
Actually, he's been strangled. Certainly no sign of a gunshot wound or stab yet. Strangled seems to cover the situation nicely. Then who's bloody pulled that dagger? Good question, let's find out. How did that club get on that dagger, young lady?
And just who are you?
And why are you wearing that negligee?
And what are you doing here? I don't know.
Which question are you answering?
All of them?
You don't know what you're doing here.
Oh, why you are dressed like that?
Or who you are?
Yes. I mean, no. I mean, yes. I mean, I don't know any of those things.
Oh, that's a happy story.
Do you really think so, Lady Monica? Well, no, of course I don't.
Didn't one say so?
Might I take charge of the conversational drift? There are more important matters to attend to.
Hold it. Let me just get out my notepad. There, that's how to proceed.
Let's go into conduct an investigation. Now, are you Chief Inspector?
Seems as good as time as any, sort of strike where the corpse is hot.
Don't you mean cold?
Actually, he's still quite warm, but would you mind not interrupting me?
Yes. Sorry, Chief Inspector. You don't sound sorry.
No, really.
But where's her shock? Her horror? Her rapid sobs?
She is rather self-composed for being so recently widowed.
Hold it! You all really must restrain this curious chit-chat until later.
But, Inspector,
Yes, Miss Custody.
under no objections to your conducting an investigation, but the reason I was distraught about your conducting it right now, that I think there's some things that ought to be done first.
Such as...
Wouldn't Paul Clive be covered up or removed or something? It's rather difficult to concentrate on this contorted feature staring at me that way.
I'm afraid the body cannot be moved until the medical examiner has had a chance to, medically examine it.
Why? Yes, Chief Inspector. Why is it that we never allow the body to be moved until it's been examined?
Somebody might, drop it?
That would hardly matter to the corpse, I'm sure!
That's true enough, I dare say. Very well, let's move it. And, any volunteers?
I
No, not you, Mimosa. I can't have my main suspect leaving the room.
No, sir. Why is she your main suspect, Inspector?
You haven't solved the case already.
Not precisely, but there is the matter of that warning note being written in Gaelic. Plus the fact that she had a grudge against Lord Clive for whacking her with that leg of mutton. And of course, the most obvious clue to a trained professional like myself is that she, just before the murder, came and announced that tea was served.
I don't get it.
How blind you can be. Now think, didn't Nancy Stafford have difficulty speaking when I first met her? Because she'd been licking the stars.
You said it's gonna have a foreign accent.
Forget that.
Sorry.
And didn't Algernon fret because it was so terribly stinky?
Sticky!
I said stinky, Chief Inspector.
That's besides the point. What point? The point that since neither Nancy nor Algernon had access to the water after Dora destroyed the lava-eating fish in the tanks, with what did Mimosa make the tea?
With the bottled water, of course, Chief Inspector.
What bottled water?
Surely you don't imagine one would brew tea from the water in the tanks?
That's what I always do.
Doesn't your tea taste perfectly fishy and foul?
Come to think of it, yes. If there was bottled water available, why did Nancy drink some of that water to get the stamp to wash her tongue?
Because Mimosa wouldn't let me. We were down to the last bottle, and she said she needed it for making tea with so many guests due to arrive.
Oh, also, Nancy gave you a marvelous excuse for getting into our liquor.
You know, it did like me!
Oh, there's anybody!
We're getting off track again. So, all that has to be done is remove Lord Clive's cadaver and get on with this investigation.
Shall I erase the bit about Mimosa and the tea, sir? Or do you want me to turn in an
Honest report.
Really, Alma?
only joking?
It'll spice my chronicle quite nicely.
What chronicle?
Well, Poirot has his Hastings, Sherlock Holmes has his Watson, and you've got your Threadle.
I say, do you mean you're writing detective entertainment based upon my departmental exploits?
Who else have I got?
Let's get on with the investigation, shall we?
The body. What about removing the body?
You're rather pushy for me, suspect.
I thought Mimosa was your main suspect.
Before I heard about the bottled water!
Tang water's only used for the bathing and the washing things.
I know that.
Look, can we please do something about Uncle Clive's cadaver?
Yes. Remember, you're reasonably well built. Would you and Algernon do the honors, please?
Certainly, sir.
Sure.
Use your knees.
There you go. You've got it. Try again. All right.
I bet you $5 to you.
Good work, darling.
I'm not a bit easy.
Yes.
Careful not to drag its rear end! The floor's just been whacked!
Third time's
Okay, it's your house now. You decide.
Oh, up on his bed, I suppose. Oh, on the left side, if you don't mind. I sleep on the right side.
Oh,
But surely with the master now defunct, you would think of.
I have to sleep someplace.
actually, he won't be there for long. As soon as the medical examiner is finished with him, he'll be removed to the morgue.
And just exactly how you propose to summon the medical examiner, Chief Inspector?
Why, by telephone, of course. I say, where is the telephone?
That is odd. It was here but a moment ago.
Well, it's not as if there are any hurry about it, Inspector. I mean, dead is dead. No matter what the examiner gets here. I must say, you've taken your husband's death very casually, Monica. And why should it die? It's not as if I like the man.
I don't think so highly of him either.
He was rather a pain, wasn't he?
You can say that again.
Quite an intolerable person, Polydor.
Overbearing, demanding, cruel and ill-mannered.
Oh, stop! I think people crazy. This is wrong, all wrong.
What is?
Don't you people know that when a murder has been committed, the survivors go to great lengths to insist how they adored the victim? Having been suspicion of murder is always most uncomfortable to undergo, even if they absolutely loathe the victim. They always insist how they were lifelong chums. Oh. Then, it is the job of the investigative detective to prove they are lying, don't you see?
Would you rather we all lied about it?
Well,
It
that
seems
is
expressing our displeasure with Lord Clive's existence makes your job all the easier, doesn't it?
yes, I suppose it does.
Let me get this straight from my official notation. You all despised him?
Yes, of course. Horrible.
I did not. Well, after all, the man once saved my life.
Well, then there's your killer, Chief Inspector. The man with no motive is obviously the killer.
Then why am I Inspector Braddock's main suspect?
Who said you were?
You did!
Nonsense!
It's right here in my notes, sir.
Well, erase that part. This woman is obviously innocent.
What? A perfect stranger in our house?
Pretending to have no knowledge of how she got here. Found standing over the victim's body.
Holding a bloody dagger?
How could she be innocent?
Well, for one thing, just look at her. Large, innocent eyes.
That sensational figure.
That entrancing negligee.
This beautiful blonde hair.
Stop! It's not fair. Why does the killer have to be someone unattractive?
Macedonia's no prize. He's like...
Hold it! All of you. The fact that this beautiful blonde, that entrancing negligee with this sensational figure, was found standing over Lord Clive's cadaver, over the dead body, with a bloody dagger, does not mean she's guilty of anything. There's something that's happened in the dark that you all don't know.
Hold on a minute.
Did we miss anything while we were gone?
Inspector Braddock has determined that this beautiful blonde is innocent.
Ah.
Is that all you put down?
All that would make you look like a ninny.
Chief Inspector, you were saying something happened in the dark that we all didn't know?
Right. While I was over by the sideboard, someone brushed past me in the dark. That person was definitely not that adorable creature with the dagger.
I don't mean to delay your business, Chief Inspector, but shouldn't we take the dagger away from her? We would all feel a bit safer.
Okay, young lady, I'll take care of that.
And I'll clean it.
Oh!
Thanks ever so. No trouble at all.
likewise.
Getting the dagger cleaned, there might be some fingerprints or something.
Oh, but they'd be my fingerprints, and you'd already know that.
Yes.
But what about the blood?
What about the blood?
Mightn't it be important just whose blood is on that dagger?
Well, we know it isn't Lord Clive's. He merely been strangled.
Yes, but with the blood on the dagger and the message written in blood on the chart back of the desk, mightn't the two facts tie in somehow?
She has a point, Chief Inspector.
Damn blast! You're right! Horribly! Woo!
There you are, sir. Clean as a whistle.
Well, probably wasn't an important clue anyhow.
Oh!
I say, where's Mimosa?
Cleaning up the blood spots on the seat.
Are you people all crazy? A death in the dark, a bloody dagger, a mysterious intruder. And now the dagger's been all washed up and a major clue vanished forever and nobody's getting excited about it.
How would getting excited help matters?
In case it hasn't sunk into any of your big heads. There's a killer loose in this house. I need something stronger than this watered-down excuse for a cocktail. Oh, thank heavens for good old Southern sour mash bourbon.
Some people can simply not hold their liquor.
Tell me about it.
But didn't she get drunk rather quickly?
Especially since she's a southern lady from Alabama, who must certainly be used to drinking her native brew.
You don't suppose there's been foul play?
But then what's calm, dear, sweet, innocent Jasmine Padu?
Or she was a bit of a snoop.
Always sneaking around unnoticed and overhearing things.
Such as what, dearest darling Algie?
Nothing of importance, my beloved baby.
Darling, beloved,
My son and Miss Bibi Cavendish are engaged to be married, Inspector. It's to be the wedding of the season. Do you want to come?
no.
Then we can understand something.
Excuse me, but if you two are engaged to be married, why haven't you so much as gone near each other since everyone started arriving here?
Oh! I never thought of that.
Neither did I.
My precious.
My love.
There you are, Inspector. Everything normal up to par.
If you don't count 2 murders in the past 15 minutes.
2 murders?
Yes. You don't suppose Jasmine's more than merely drunk?
Well, it's easy enough to find out. Dead as a doornail. Yes.
Good for you, Mumsy, good for you.
Yes. Nothing. It means nothing.
Master Algernon, sir?
Yes, Remy.
Shall we?
Of course. Please excuse me, my beloved baby.
Gladly, my adorable Algie.
How very odd. Who would want to marry Jasmine Padu?
Wrong there, Mr. Roberts. That bourbon must have been loaded with cyanide.
Mr. Roberts, of course, that's what I smell.
What are you talking about?
He's probably talking about the moment when a stranger brushed past him inside.
Does anyone say anything important while we're gone?
Was that the moment, Inspector?
Well, as a matter of fact,
Would it be all right to write that down, Inspector? It's quite possible that I don't know who I am or how I got here without lovely small notches. Besides,
most silly young lady, please do make yourself comfortable.
thank you. You company has an intelligent man, you.
Not only beautiful, but keenly observant too, I might add.
You saying something about what happened in the dark.
I was? Oh, yes, of course I was. Here's the thing. When whoever it was rushed past me in the dark over by the sidewalk, that person did not walk an aroma of a blood-hammering, haunting fragrance. Does this ravishing cliche even now?
So you mean she's innocent because you smell nothing when whoever it was brushed beside you by the sidewalk in the dark?
Maxie, you're not paying attention. He said he did smell something, the odor of bitter almonds.
That must have been when the cyanide was introduced into Jasmine's drink.
Precisely.
But it wasn't Jasmine's drink. It was mine, that one I left on the coffee table.
Oh, the drink that I almost drank after all the staff licking.
But luckily for you, Uncle Clive insisted on making you a different cocktail, which was quite uncharacteristic of the man. Oddly enough, you think he knew the bourbon was poisoned?
How could he? That is to say, at the time he placed it upon the sideboard, it wasn't poisoned. That happened while the lights were out. If Chief Inspector Braddock is correct about when he smelled the cyanide.
Oh, it's all so terribly confusing, isn't it?
But I have no doubt there is a solution to everything that's happened here. If somebody could think of one.
Isn't that your job?
She's got you there, Chief Inspector.
Exactly what did happen when the lights were out?
Well, of course, I haven't quite formulated my theory yet.
You let us know what you do, I hope.
Careful there, or you'll be the main suspect again.
Did we miss anything?
This is all ever so exciting.
You disposed of Miss Perdue so quickly.
Governor?
She didn't wait half so much.
Well, then where did you put her?
Right beside Lord Clive.
In the same bed with my late husband?
Well, we couldn't very well put her in the guest room, Mumsy.
Why not?
Because at the rate that you're solving this mystery, you're gonna need a place to stay.
Thank you.
Oh, I will not have a detestable woman sharing a bed with Clive, dead or alive!
Detestable, Lady Monica. If that's how you felt about Jasmine Perdue, why did you invite her here?
Well, a person really ought to let bygones be bygones.
Why did you deem it detestable in the first place, Lady Monica?
Did I say detestable? No, I merely said, adorable. Adorable, of course.
Then you meant to say you wouldn't have that adorable woman sharing a bed with your husband.
Who would want an adorable woman sharing a bed with her husband? She's got you there, Ben.
Rats, and I got so close to the solution somehow.
It's all Peter! Oh, I don't suppose anybody wants any dirty now. Must have gone totally cold. Oh, and now it's time to start on dinner.
Not too fast, Mimosa. I'd like to examine that teacup before you part.
Examine it for what, Inspector?
In case it hasn't slipped everybody's mind, there was a short fire by the lights were out. And yet, that being the case, where's the pistol that fired it?
Not to mention the bullets.
But there's nothing on the start except for tea and sandwiches.
And for you mean. And this is only a theory, mind you, but I think if we take a look inside one of these teapots, oh yes,
But somebody must have put it there.
Even so, where is the bullet hole?
Might have gone out the terrace doors and vanished into the sea.
The doors closed while the lights were out.
Someone might have opened and closed them in the dark.
Faster than a speeding bullet? Oh, I think not. And where are those drapes drawn? They certainly were not drawn before the lights went out. Oh, what can it possibly matter, Monica?
What matters to me? Open them when you're ready. It's positively stifling in here.
At once, Miss Cassidy.
What does she think she is? She's having a bomb. I understand she's drunk. Because of my own.
Is the worst type of people.
She's my sister.
There's a man on the balcony!
sir!
Why don't we invite him in and ask him?
Oh, he must be the killer! Probably cahoots with her! Yes, no, it couldn't be any of us!
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I've never seen that man before in my life.
How can you be sure you haven't? You are in the midst of a memory lapse, after all. Be careful, Roderick. You may be armed.
Roderick?
My given name. People seldom use it.
Well, whoever you're going as, let me assure you, I'm not armed.
I suppose you can explain what you were doing on that balcony?
Even more so, how you got there.
It is a rather dizzying drop to the seashore below.
If you must know, I scaled the cliff face, realized there were people inside, but lost my nerve up to climb down. It's easier going up. You don't realize how high you are, but reversing course without even being able to see where to place your feet, I was afraid to chance it.
Just a moment. There were no unoccupied houses along this section of the coast.
Who said there were, Alma?
He did. Not in so many words, of course, but why would he be surprised to find that there were people in this room otherwise?
My very thought. Why did you assume this room was empty, young man? And tell the truth, or it will go hard on you at your trial.
Trial? What trial? Trial on what charge?
We could start with breaking and entering.
Except he hasn't broken anything. I tranquilly answered him.
I knew that.
Then who the bloody hell are you, anyway? Going about threatening people with legal action?
He is Chief Inspector Benjamin Braddock of the Hamilton CID.
Well, that doesn't give me the right to go out threatening people.
Doesn't it?
Inspector, aren't you thinking about the murder?
About both murders, my dear.
Both? Oh, yes, Jasmine Perdue. I'd quite forgotten about her death, to be honest.
Quite understandable under these circumstances.
You poor dear.
Well, now wait just a moment. I don't know anything about any murders. I only just got here about 10 minutes ago.
And how you so certain they didn't happen 10 minutes ago?
I was peeking through the gap between the drapes.
Spying upon us! The man is obviously a criminal. Take him away, Inspector.
It's no crime to look through the window of the house to which you've been invited.
Invited?
Invited by whom? Unless I missed my guess. By
Mimosa! Oh, it's not quite all right. The maid has no business inviting people to her employer's house.
Now, Mumsy, Mimosa's not an indentured servant after all. I don't see why she can't have her young man call upon her here.
Well, when you put it that way, it doesn't seem too bad of a breach of etiquette.
I don't follow any of this.
Lucy, kindly stop your sniffling and explain yourself. We were...
Eloping, weren't you, tonight?
With the house full of guests?
No! With her young man.
Do not be facetious, Algie.
Huh?
Yes, it's just as the Sergeant Almighty said. Oh, it's
You didn't come on the blackout, did you?
Sadly, Tweedle, would you mind awfully if I did the deducing?
Certainly not. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah. On second thought, that's all right, Alma. Go ahead and tell us your theories, and I'll see if they dovetail perfectly with my own.
As you wish, sir.
Yeah.
The clinchers were signal, weren't they?
Yes, ma'am, they were. I hadn't seen Tom for the past 5 days, and...
Tom who?
Grogan, sir?
How did you know?
Then, that's who the young man is.
I knew that. Okay, well, you may proceed, Mimosa. You had, as I had already deduced, hadn't seen this young man, Tom Groggins, here for the past 5 days, and... Don't look at me, this is Mimosa's story.
Tell it.
My plan exactly.
I thought it might be.
Go on, Mimosa, please.
Well, I hadn't expected Dora to quit, and what with mixing dinner and all, Tom and I had a sort of code. Oh, that's not the word.
A prearranged signal, do you mean?
Yes, that's the word. Thank
It's a blackout, Epeton. This is all making the sense now.
It is? Well, the problem, Chief Inspector, is that one can only see the drapes from the beach, not once one has begun scaling the cliff face. So I saw that they were open. Started up.
And once at balcony level, with it being pitch dark outside and inside where the lights were out, you couldn't tell that they were closed.
No, not that I'd have dared trying to climb back down. Once it had brightened up, I could see that they were closed. I could also see what a dangerous bloody precipice I'd scaled, and completely lost all mountain goat instincts.
Tom! My poor heroic darling! You could have been killed!
Now she tells me.
Oh, kiss me, my poor heroic darling!
It is so difficult to find good help these days.
She doesn't need any help.
Here now, it's enough of them. There's a murder to be investigated.
Might I suggest we let the inspector do his solving before there are any more murders?
Of course I shall. Now, let's see, where to begin?
You might have a go at the message, written in blood.
My very thought. One of you in this room knows what my red rum for out max in Civil War Site 1 means. Out with it, whoever you are, or it'll go hard on you at your trial.
Inspector Braddock, what makes you think any of us knows?
You see, obvious. One of you is the murderer, and the murderer wrote this message.
But Inspector, I rather think that Clive wrote that message.
Your husband, he's the victim.
Who better to leave a message for the police?
Oh, now that you put it that way, that does make much more sense. Why do you think Lady Monica Lord Clive left that message?
Well, for one reason, it's in my late husband's handwriting. It's not difficult to see that the style matches the other two on the page.
But Blas, none of them are handwritten, Lady Monica. They're printed in long letters.
Inspector, a person's printing is as individual as his cursive writing.
I know that. Apologies. And so all that must be done is to solve the first two messages, crack the code, and then we'll know what the bloody one means.
But
Yes.
Inspector, we know what those two messages mean.
You do? Madam, I'm Adam. It was I saw Elba. There must be some sort of code. They simply don't make any sense.
Honestly, Inspector, don't you recognize them? They're palindromes!
They're what?
Palindromes! Any word or phrase spelt the exact same forwards as it is backwards is a palindrome. They were my father's hobby.
What? Backwards is forwards. Why, how utterly extraordinary. They do read the same backwards as forwards. No, not all of them. The bloody one starts with an M but then ends with an N.
The dying man would hardly have had his hobby, Inspector. He was obviously trying to identify his killer.
Do you mean his killer was somebody named Max, who was a rum runner during a civil war in the Alps?
I must say, that's the best theory you've come up with so far.
Why, thank you.
Now all we have to do is wait for the Civil War to ravage the Alps.
And that first member of the name Max, we grab him.
I don't understand that.
So if you're not a jackass, you'll press responsibilities and get down to cases. There's a killer in this room, and the sooner we identify that killer, the safer you won't sleep tonight. There. That's better. Now let's get on with the investigation, shall we?
Really, Sergeant Friedel, how shall we begin? I'd leave further delving into the late Lord Clive's hobby as indicated. Don't you agree, Inspector?
The hobby, of course. Why exactly, Alma?
The fact that Lord Clive took the trouble to make his way over to the desk and lean over it, so he'd be sure we connect his bloody words to the hobby. I mean, it would have been much easier to scroll the message on the wall.
But wouldn't that be extremely costly to clean, afterward?
Perhaps that's why he chose the page behind the desk. I mean, Clive was as tight-fisted as a novice trapeze artist without a net.
My days sometime in my detective novels.
If you like. How very kind of you.
Even so, knowing he was dying, would he have cared about the cleaning expenses?
I must admit, even as penurious a man as Lord Clive, one undoubtedly feels that identifying his killer took precedence over the financial losses.
In which case, what does the message mean?
And I'd still like to know whose blood Uncle Clive used to write those words.
He used the blood from the dagger, of course.
Damn unblast! Whose blood was on that dagger?
Don't look at me. Someone thrust that bloody dagger into my hand in the dark.
Oh, so you say.
Really, Lady Monica, if I had done something criminal with that dagger, I'd hardly be idiot enough to hold on to it after I'd used it.
I must say, Monica, I'm forced to agree with this young lady. Keeping that dagger in hand makes no sense if she was guilty of using it. But unsuspecting in the dark, she wouldn't know it was a bloody dagger till the light was restored.
And I had been too shocked seeing Lord Clive's body to even notice what I was holding in my hand.
I'm inclined to agree with her. I saw a look of shock on her face when the lights come up. It would be extremely hard to counterfeit that emotion.
Oh, nonsense! We all look shocked, and that means that somebody was counterfeiting emotion and doing a very good job of it. Why should that person be her?
Impossible!
Just look at their face.
That figure.
Those eyes.
Those lips.
That hair.
Oh, chauvinist! Would you feel that way if I was talking about you?
Why,
That's what I thought, Miss Cavendish. Lady Monica, there's something I don't understand about your husband's hobby. Those two phrases at the top of the page are not originals. They're standard palindromes that almost everybody knows. Yet you say your husband created them.
Yes, sorry, Sergeant, I guess I should have been a bit clearer. Clive's hobby was creating original palindromes. I believe he decided to publish a book of them or something someday, but you must understand, they're devilishly difficult to conjure up. Working as if both ends toward the middle, or middle outwards, oh, I forget which. But he would use these two familiar palindromes as a sort of inspiration for him, or guide, you might say.
I say, what's all this talk about the old god's hobby anyways? Shouldn't we start about catching his killer?
That's precisely what we are doing, Algernon.
Oh.
You see, your late father's hobby is the key that identifies his murderer.
What?
Isn't that correct, Inspector?
Yes, of course it is. Should have been perfectly obvious.
Right.
What should it, Inspector?
Tell her, Sergeant.
All in good time, but before the inspector reveals the identity of the culprit, there is just one more item to be brought to light. The whereabouts of the missing bullet hole.
You know where it is?
Of course we do.
Where?
Tell them, Sergeant.
Better than that, I'll show them, with your permission, sir.
Oh, yes, by all means, go ahead and show them what what we discovered.
Monsieur Free, if you'd be kind enough to place the philodendron back onto the floor.
Back onto the floor?
The inspector noticed when the lights came up that it had been moved to the mantel from its original location on the floor.
Yes, first thing I saw, and of course it told me everything.
About what?
Tell her, Sergeant.
No, wait. Sergeant, you're not saying that the bullet has gone through the corner of my priceless gold glass? Oh, what a terrible tragedy!
It would be if that's where the bullet had stopped.
You mean, it isn't?
Then why was the catch moved?
The hidden fact that this painting is not the priceless Gauguin. What? Monsieur Free, if you please.
Cet homme. Sacre bleu!
Where is the original?
Right where the killer hid it.
Oh, blast! Algernon began at my place to under arrest for the murder at Lord.
Oh, Ben. Ben. He's not the killer.
But you said...
That is merely to make a thief of the out and blurt out his or her identity. Theft is not a capital crime, but murder is. I rather suspected it was Algy, but I had to make certain. I thought facing the gallows for the murder he did not perpetrate was enough to shatter his careful composure.
Algy! Did you take the painting?
I say, what's the use?
Yes, Mother, I did. You know how tight Father was with money. I could have sold that painting for a fortune. And me and Chloe...
Custody!
Oh, my sweet, stupid darling. Chloe? But Algy's engaged to me.
That was Father's arrangement. Now that the old gov's gone, I can jolly well take up any bride that I please.
Excuse me, but the philodendron was placed there to disguise the flaw in the duplicate painting, and not the missing bullet hole. Where is that bullet hole?
Behind the painting in the wall.
What? Oh, by George, you're right! What? How did you know?
The bullet had to go somewhere in the room, yet it was nowhere to be seen, which meant that something was covering it. The portrait was the likeliest choice, but of course, that meant during the time the lights were out, the portrait had to be off the wall.
And there's no reason why anyone would take the priceless piece of artwork off the wall and simply replace it back on the wall again, unless there was a substitute painting replacing it under cover of darkness.
Inspector, you astonish me
With my incisiveness of deduction.
with the fact that you...
Let's not hassle the inspector. I want to know who committed the murder. The two murders! Sit down.
That's right! We always forget about Miss Perdue.
Well, you shouldn't, because Jasmine Perdue is the key to the entire mystery.
What?
And Inspector Braddock will explain everything to you.
I will. I will. Yeah.
Well, mimosa's dinner about ready.
Dinner? Oh, why yes, dinner! Should be ready about momentarily.
Then I suggest we all go into dinner and fortify ourselves. And as soon as we return here, Inspector Braddock will tell you all just what did happen while the lights were out.
Very well. Okay.
I'm famished.
You'll be a minute. Of course, darling. So this way to the dining room.
Stay upright, Cornelia.
I'll try.
Oh no, what am I going to do? I don't have the foggiest notion of what happened while the lights were out.
That's why I got all those people out of here, Ben. If you just pay close attention, I shall tell you what happened.
So, do you mean that then, when they all return, I can do the great detective bit and summarize the entire case with the plural and admiral ingenuity?
Precisely, sir.
How utterly unkind and unselfish of you.
Kindness has nothing to do with it, Ben. I have a book to write. You want to read a mystery novel about a stupid detective.
Sergeant Reader, I resent your implication.
Do you deny it?
Of course not. So, just what did happen while the lights were out?
There will now be a 10-minute intermission.
Are you sure you've got it all straight now, Ben?
Yes, I believe I have. Only, you said that's the way events transpired. It seems so complicated, so bizarre, especially that motive for the strangulation of Lord Clive.
But what other explanation fits the facts?
Well, when you put it that way...
Good. Shall we start with something else, sir?
Yes, I suppose we should. How do I look?
Splendid.
You really think so?
You'll straight terror into every guilty heart in the room.
I am rather ominous of aspect, aren't I? Very well, let them in by all means.
No. Places, everybody. It's time to solve a murder.
Simple-minded, the butler did at School of Education.
I don't suppose I could simply apologize for swiping the painting.
Algy, will you please stop admitting you did it? Where are Tom Broggins and Mimosa?
They were dining in the kitchen. Perhaps they didn't hear me. Shall I go and fetch them?
No need. Here they come now.
Will this take very long, Inspector?
Oh, don't be so anxious, Tom. We can always elope tomorrow.
Now that everyone is here,
Oh, except my dearly husband.
I might have everyone's attention. There, that's better. I think it's finally time for you all to learn exactly what did happen while the lights were out.
You mean what you think happened while the lights were out?
Yes, I suppose that is a bit more accurate.
It is not. Chief Inspector Braddock will tell you all precisely what happened.
Do we not even get to argue with some on various points?
Not unless you want this denouncement to drag on till dawn.
Sergeant Riedel is right. Everybody, let's listen up and pay attention.
Thank you, Lady Monaco. Let's take it back to before the lights went out. There was things that could tickle your minds that were duly noted before the murder was committed.
Murders!
Miss Custodine. So, do I have everyone's undivided attention?
Of course. Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to harken back to a few very odd things that happened in this room before the crime was committed.
Crime!
Miss Custodine!
There may have been only one murder, but there was also a theft. That makes two crimes. Plural. But do continue, Inspector.
Sergeant Riegel, I hereby authorize you to shoot the next person who interrupts me.
I'm not armed.
With, I am here. Take my pistol. And when you shoot to kill. Now, do I have everybody's undivided attention? Splendid. So, the truly odd things that happened were these. I've no doubt in my mind Lord Clive was a clinropane, chilly, and antisocial and cruel. But since I arrived here today, not a one of you has had a kind word for him. Apparently with good reason, and yet...
And yet?
Arma, why did you fire?
And who they all interrupted in unison?
Rat, there are only 6 bullets in my pistol.
Would you like to borrow the governor's pistol? It still has 5 bullets left in it.
Ouchie! Are you crazy?
Crazy to find out how the murder was committed? We all are!
All but the murderer, that is. Thank you, Archie, for the support. Now let's get on with this thing. Good. We all know the sort of man Lord Clive was, and yet how very uncharacteristic was his conduct several times a day. For instance, although he was a penny-pinching old scooter of a man, what did we find on the sideboard? A bottle of sour mash imported American bourbon. A very expensive tipple in these parts. And what happened when Nancy went to drink some of that bourbon? Why, Lord Clive again dropped out of character and made her a cocktail instead. And again, though a man described as too aristocratic to sharpen his own pencils, he took it upon himself to close the doors to the balcony, not letting Remley do so for him. Why, I ask myself, would a man act so contrary to his normal conduct in these 3 instances?
Oh, please don't shoot, Sergeant, but I simply must interrupt.
Ben?
Yes, very well. What is it, Lady Monaco?
Well, it's just everything you've mentioned so far seems to be heading towards some sort of denunciation of Clive, but Clive was the victim of the murderer, if you understand my meaning.
I do indeed, Lady Monaco, but you see, everything that happened here today all but had one goal in mind. The murder of Jasmine Perdue.
What?
Consider the sort of person Jasmine Perdue was. An unobtrusive eavesdropper.
What are you suggesting, Inspector?
Shall I shoot him, sir?
No, not when persons only ask for clarification. Only when they start those damnable side excursions into their own conversation.
As you wish, sir.
What I'm suggesting, Monsieur Fury, is that Jasmine Perdue made a lucrative living as an extortionist.
What are those people that twist themselves into pretzels?
That's a contortionist, dear.
Honor! Sorry! To return to my exposition. There was yet one other uncharacteristic thing done by Lord Clive even before today. He's a man who argues over the price of everything, who swats mimosa in the forehead with a leg of mutton for saving keeping, who skips and saves and begrudges every last sparkling that must be paid out. And yet, where did we find him a short while back? On a Caribbean cruise with his wife. A holiday perhaps costing a few £1,000. Now, why would the old skin flint do a thing like that, Lady Monaco?
I don't shoot at people merely answering questions, my lady.
Yes. What did you wish to ask me, Inspector?
Didn't you find it strange that your incredibly stingy husband would undertake such a lavish outing?
Oh, yes, of course I did. Well, I begged him to take me on trips for months and months, begging, pleading, and nagging until he knuckled under and agreed to it. I mean, even eventually Ebenezer Scrooge came around to generosity.
And why were you so very insistent he take you on that cruise, Lady Monica?
Well, it was rather boring around the house all day.
Could it be for another motive? A much stronger motive for wanting to sail the Spanish Main?
I don't know what you mean, Inspector.
You have indicated to me, to all of us, that you could hardly stand your husband's company. Why then sequester yourself on a ship with him?
I can answer that, Chief Inspector. I asked her to come on that cruise.
Oh, yes, of course you did, Miss Cavendish. To meet your lover and fiancé, the captain of the steamboat, Captain Pierre Bory.
What? I thought the guy was a former naval hero or something.
That was many years ago, my young friend, but once I was too old to continue in the military service, I translated my love of the sea to commercial work. But really, Inspector, aren't we dallying into quite unimportant matters?
No, because in addition to Lord and Lady Wickenham, Miss Cavendish, and yourself, there's one other very important person on that cruise.
Jasmine Perdue!
Precisely. The little lady who liked to be around people, perhaps just around the corner and snoop, listening to everything they had to say. A sort of unpleasant person who leads to living off the picadillos of careful misbehavior.
Oh, she was a horrible person! Horrible! With her smirks and her filthy innuendos
And she observed you all, perhaps upon the moonlit deck, amid the romantic sea breeze, lulled by the rhythmic throb of the engine, in the arms of Pierre Bory.
Yes, that's what happened, Inspector.
Don't be so harsh with her, Elsie. Hers was not the only guilt on the cruise. For Miss Perdue also observed similar carrying-ons between Miss Cavendish and your father.
Oh, how could you possibly know that?
I say, Phoebe, is this true?
I suppose you wish to end our engagement now.
Yes. But for a much more satisfactory reason. Chloe Cassidy.
My trigger finger is getting very itchy! Sorry! So, Inspector, all that time I was afraid Clive would learn of my indiscretion. He was guilty of an indiscretion of his own.
Long before the cruise, Lady Monica. You see, think back now. Lord Clive first encountered Miss Cavendish when she first saw her husband, fiancé, my apologies, died while he was still in hospital. Yes.
Yes, that's when it all began. Clive was warm and charming, romantic, and well, Pierre was temporarily unavailable during his convalescence, and
Clive? My Clive? Warm, charming, and romantic?
when the male animal's attempting a conquest, he tends to hide his natural mode of behavior.
I'm afraid I had no idea he was of the type one until he...
Until he...
Arranged my engagement.
to his son.
It was to be our lover's excuse. A reason for me to show up here ever so often without raising people's eyebrows. A temporary expedient, he said, until he could rid himself of Monica.
But he could hardly afford an expensive divorce from her. Not a man with his money-saving instincts, anyway. So it was he who arranged for Pierre to show up here today, ostensibly uninvited, but actually partners in crime.
Oh, and just why would Clive have gone through the particular trouble of selecting me for this singular honor?
Because he needed somebody he could absolutely trust. What better person than who you have continuously pointed out to us today, who owed him his life.
Surgery! Of course! Pierre would have done anything for Clive!
Even murder?
But he did not know he was getting involved in murder. Not the matter pleasant Purdue, at any rate.
But Inspector, how could he be so certain of the strength of Pierre's gratitude?
For a money-ordering person like Lord Clive was, he had already demonstrated to Clive what was irrefutable proof. You see, Pierre was the person who, out of gratitude, paid for Monica and Clive to take that cruise. To Clive, that was the supreme test of friendship, spending money on a person.
Why, you bloody bastard! I had to pay for my ticket. Your own fiancé.
Aren't you forgetting, Miss Cavendish, that by that time you were already disenchanted with Pierre's amorous leanings?
Why, yes, but I'm not quite sure exactly why that is.
Then allow me to tell you why.
You know why?
Let me tell you all a little story. Many years ago, when I was attending college, I had a roommate.
Ben.
She was a lovely little thing, but rather strapped financially.
Ben.
To help her pay her tuition and board, she got a part-time job as a hotel maid.
Inspector!
Are you saying your college roommate was a woman?
Yes, Sergeant.
I told you to tell Miss Potts about my college days, remember?
I say, who's solving this case anyhow?
Shoot that man!
Oh, come on, Ben. Now that you've blown it, let me handle this part of the solution, all right?
All right.
My college roommate, of whom Ben spoke, had taken the job as a hotel maid. About the same time, she needed a surgery, a cervical laminectomy with fusion. The same as once with me. Precisely. Unfortunately, there is a side effect to which most neurosurgeons never think to warn their patients. Her husband lost a job at the hotel because of it.
What side effect?
She can no longer change the pillow casings when making up rooms. But why ever not?
Just what is a cervical laminectomy with fusion anyhow?
A disc has ruptured between two of the vertebrae in the neck, causing pain and often paralysis as it presses on the spinal nerves there. It is vital that this disc be surgically removed and the surrounding vertebrae fused together, usually with a small sliver of bone from the hip, or there might ensue paralysis, or even death.
But I don't get it. How could the operation, if successful, cause your friend to lose her job in the hotel?
There are 7 vertebrae in the neck. After fusion, in effect, the person only has 6 flexible vertebrae, since 2 now move as 1. It prevents the person's chin from reaching the person's chest.
But even so... Oh, of course, now I see.
Well, I don't.
Only because you've never in your life had to make up a bed of your own. Oh, that poor friend of Sergeant Treadles.
Well, I still don't understand.
Lady Monica, in order to change your pillow casing, the casing must be first held open by both hands. Then the only way to have the pillow at the ready is between chin and chest. Do you see?
Oh, yes, now I see. But what in the world does this have to do with Pierre?
Pierre can no longer put his trousers on the hanger.
What?
Ask any man how it's done. 2 hands must hold the trousers at its sides in order to maintain their crease, while the cuffs of the trousers are held into position between the chin and the chest, as the hanger is maneuvered into position. Pierre can no longer hang up his trousers neatly.
So his sartorial appearance in that area became distressingly messy.
And naturally, his engagement to a prominent fashion designer was over.
Yeah. Why, darling, why didn't you tell me?
I say, Pierre, is this all true?
Yes, it's all too terribly true. Lord Clive Wickingham did not save my life. He destroyed it!
And so Lord Clive conceived his master plan for murdering Desmond Purdue. And for a confederate, he chose a man to pretend to murder him. A man who in his heart of hearts was just awaiting an opportunity to really murder him.
He cost me the love of my adored baby. He had to pay for it. Naturally, when he told me of his plan, about his fake murder, I pretended to only be too happy to go along with it. But faking his murder was far from my intention!
Well, damn and blast! Then the case is solved and we can all relax!
What about the message? And the bloody writing left with that flip over thing!
And the pistol in the teapot?
I decided I to Bearman
And the
gunshot we heard.
And the motive for Miss Biddy's murder.
And the mysterious appearance of this beautiful blonde.
Isn't it all perfectly elementary?
No!
Then allow me to explain it. All excepting the question Miss Cavendish asked. I have no idea who this beautiful blonde lady is, nor why she's here, nor why she's dressed like that.
Benjamin, you silly goose. Haven't you recognized her yet? It's your own girlfriend, Maisie McGill.
Me?
What?
Oh, of course, now it's all coming back to me.
Miss, wear your glasses, that hair done up in bun, those frumpy clothes, and sensible shoes.
That part of it, I don't know.
Then how did you recognize her?
By that haunting perfume, of course. Librarian Anachi always wears it.
Hey, Sheriff, I thought you smelled familiar somehow. But why are you here?
To apply for the job, of course. I told my roommate about it. You should have called.
But I did call. The problem was your roommate never told me where you were applying for employment.
I say, that's another puzzlement. Why was the telephone taken off the desk?
One thing at a time, Elsie. I want to know why Maisie came here to seek work.
And I'd like to know, what work? Despite all my efforts, I couldn't stop Clive from his infernal hobby long enough to set up interviews for a new cook. So naturally, we didn't advertise for one. But it wasn't the cook's job I came here about.
It was tonight's job. I placed the advertisement. I mean, I was going to a law. I didn't want to leave the wicked house completely stranded, not with a house full of guests.
Well, I guess that clears up that mystery.
Not quite. It still doesn't explain the glamorous makeup and that negligee.
Well, I thought I'd be interviewed by Lord Clive, and Lord Clive was a man, so I thought by wearing this negligee it would increase my chances of being hired.
Thinking.
Righto! We're here!
All right, then. We've settled the matter of the unidentified blonde, but what about all that other stuff?
Like the telephone being taken away.
What do you think of it? The telephone is back on the desk now. Wherever did you find it, Inspector?
In the wastebasket by the desk, Lord Clive thrust it there in the dark, delaying my calling of the medical examiner, who would surely know that the supposed strangulation victim was only pretending to be dead.
Pretending?
Well, of course, Lord Clive didn't know Pierre intended to really kill him. Of course. That makes sense.
But for how long was he planning to pretend to be dead? I mean, he couldn't keep up such deception forever.
Only until after Jasmine Purdue had drank the poisoned bourbon. Then he would miraculously catch his breath and recover. He simply didn't want to be in the same room when she died. With a room full of witnesses to swear that he'd been stashed away in his bedroom, no one could ever say he killed him.
Amazing! How ingenious of the old spook. But his motive for murdering Miss Purdue, I mean, in writing that mysterious message?
And that gimmick note that got me and Ben over here in the first place, don't forget.
That too.
And yet, Mimosa, he didn't want to take any chance of it somehow getting traced back to him once it had served its purpose.
What purpose? It seems utter insanity that a man about to commit a murder would take such pains to be sure there were police on the premises.
But what police?
You're not the police?
No, you misunderstand. What I meant was, Lord Clive didn't send for the police in general. He sent for Benjamin Braddock.
Of course. What better way to assure himself that crime would never be solved?
Now see here.
How could Lord Clive know the sort of investigator Inspector Braddock was?
Well, sorry at Marquise about a fortnight ago, while Ben was busy observing Lady Monica and a chit-chat about sour mash bourbon, Lord Clive was busy observing Ben. It didn't take him long to realize this was the perfect man to come around here and muck up the entire investigation.
Oh, now, how could you?
Now, Ben, you're not as stupid as all that. I mean, you have good sense to select me as your assistant.
Smartest move I ever made in my life.
But Inspector, all those questions answered, are we really ever going to find out exactly what happened while the lights were out?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. Right now, without further delay.
If you all kindly get back to exactly where you were at the moment just before the lights went out.
I was in the entrance hall, I think, Benji. Shall I go out there? Why don't you get
that's when the lights went out, of course. All right, dear, go back into the hallway and wait for my signal before re-entering.
Inspector, what would you like me to do? I was still climbing up the cliffside at the time. I hope you don't suppose I repeat it.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'd like you to play the part of Lord Clive in a little demonstration, since obviously he cannot do so. Go over there and Sergeant Friedel will give you your moves.
But Inspector, who is going to play Jasmine? You always forget about Jasmine.
That was the key to her success as an extortionist. She was the most unnoticeable person. Actually, there'd no one need play a part. She did nothing while the lights were out.
Except cringe a bit in the dark.
Here's what you're going to do when the inspector gives the signal to begin.
Inspector, do you really expect me to go through with my actions in this recreation? It would be akin to an admission of guilt.
We already know your actions, Monsieur Perrin. Your cooperation or lack of it will be duly noted at your trial. It may go easy on you if you lend us your assistance right now.
Oh, very well.
Then now, do you have it all straight, Mr. Gromlins?
I think so. The cyanide, the pistol, the dagger. In that order, then falling down and dying.
Quite correct. Now then, everyone, shall we begin?
Well, I say, what about the drinks? Wasn't his lordship about to hand Nancy her wine spritzer when the lights went out?
The drinks are not important, all excepting the bourbon on the sideboard, but we'll simply simulate that part. Now, is everyone ready?
Yes?
Any questions?
I have a question, Inspector.
Of course you do. Now, why doesn't that surprise me? Yes, what is it, Miss Custodine?
Prime element. Those lights were out for no more than 5 seconds, Inspector. Surely there's far too much to be done in that short interval.
You'd be surprised by how much can be done in a short space of time. 5 seconds is a lot longer than you can imagine. But if you have nothing to do and the activity stops, take this. And when the inspector gives the signal to begin, press the stop button.
And when I call time, press the stop button. You do know how to operate a stopwatch.
Yes, I used to coach my school's track team.
Now then, if everyone is ready to go. All right then, Ben.
On your marks, get set, begin. Bang! The pistol is fired. Now keep rid of it. Time.
Well, Miss Custody.
Exactly 5 seconds!
And that's what happened while the lights were out.
One question, Inspector. Why did Pierre run to just now?
To change his shirt, of course, and place the bandage upon the bloody area of his chest.
Unfortunately, it was still dark when I did so, and I inadvertently donned this white shirt instead of a duplicate blue one. Fortunately, nobody noticed.
I noticed.
I applaud your powers of observation, Amos-Vito. Had it not been for that one mistake, I would have gotten away with it.
But that message in blood, do you mean that it was always there? On the next page, even before the lights went out?
Lord Clive had no time to write a message in the brief interval of darkness. Obviously, he pre-planned and did so long before the event.
But what was the point of the mission?
To throw suspicion upon Pierre, of course.
Lord Clive did not care who got the blame as long as it wasn't he himself. He poisoned the bourbon, knowing that under stress a southern-born lady like Jasmine Perdue would head for it immediately, and made sure that his wife got suspicion for her murder.
Yet he sent that Gaelic message in the secondary hope suspicion would fall upon the massa.
Wait, how does the bourbon point to mother?
Your father had what order the bourbon, knowing that she'd be so thrilled at him finally buying expensive liquor that she'd talk of nothing else at the Marquis' soiree, briefing dozens of witnesses to the fact that she was the purchaser of the liquor likeliest for Jasmine to drink.
Now, I understand how Zagidic note might incriminate Mimosa, but how does this gibberish on the page behind the desk incriminate moi?
It is not gibberish, Monsieur Opry. His lordship was creating, Hobby was creating palindromes after all.
But my bread runs out of that amid Civil War Side 1 isn't palindrome.
Not precisely. What it is the first half of a palindrome. When someone realizes, that is, once I realized it, all that had to be done was continue the palindrome, writing the first half backwards. And we took the liberty of doing so on the next page, arriving at "No I sprawl, I victim exemplar of murder by M."
By M? The French abbreviation for the word monsieur.
Who else could qualify?
But Inspector, well, the lights went out. Why did Lord Clyde cry out sauce?
To point yet another finger of guilt at Pierre, who was a naval person. What has a man of Seagull to do with sauce?
Nothing, but he wasn't crying out sauce. He was crying out a seagoing distress signal. Surely you're all familiar with SOS?
Being in the process of strangulation, Lord Clyde simply didn't have enough time to spell it out.
Amazing!
But I'm still confused about something. Why put the pistol in the teapot?
Being in total darkness, Lord Clyde couldn't have been sure the bullet hadn't struck someone. It'd be quite sticky for him if he resurrected later on to face the charges of manslaughter.
The tannic acid from the hot tea obliterated any fingerprints left on the pistol. No one would ever know who fired the shot.
It's all so simple once it's been explained.
A brilliant solution to an utterly baffling case, Chief Inspector.
Nothing left but to arrest Pierre for Uncle Clive's murder.
Ah, but I have no intention of arresting Pierre for that murder.
What?
For the love of reason, Inspector, why not?
Because Lord Clive Wickenham is not dead.
What? But when we took him up to his room...
He certainly seemed dead enough.
But he wasn't. Oh, his breath had stopped momentarily, but when you told me and picked him out...
His body jackknifed and his internal organs obviously pushed against his diaphragm, stopping his breathing again.
Obviously, what's so obvious about it?
The fact that he is currently alive and healthy makes it quite obvious.
If Lord Wickenham is alive and healthy, then where is he?
You haven't so much as peeked into his bedroom, have you?
What good would that do us?
Because Lord Clive Wickenham is not in his bedroom.
Then where is he?
Standing right beside his bride-to-be.
Into this room as dry as toast.
What you actually did after Remley and Algie placed Jasmine's body on the bed was to get into disguise and climb down onto the balcony after the storm had abated.
So that's why he closed those balcony doors, to keep his descent from being noticed.
And our murderer! This deception, my mother closing those dreads! I am terrible, terrible man!
That's merely one error. What's of the others?
And our reenactment of the crime just now when Pierre began to strangle you, you cried out, sauce, sauce!
So what if I did? That's precisely what I really cried when you really tried it while the lights were out.
But who told you what we said? I certainly didn't. I merely told you where to move and what to do. Not what to say.
Damn police trap, and I fell right for it. Damn!
clerical error. You earlier, Tom Groggins, claimed that you hadn't seen Mimosa for the past 5 days.
I don't see the error in that.
But you were supposed to be in love with Mimosa, about to elope with her, in fact.
What of it?
Come, your lordship. What young man on greeting his sweetheart after an interval of 5 days and seeing a large, ugly bruise on her forehead does not ask her what had happened?
She didn't have to ask, because Athor's probably put that bruise there just 2 days earlier.
A real Tom Groggins, therefore, wouldn't have expected it.
Ben not a fool. Damn at last!
Sergeant Riddle, take the prisoner away.
With pleasure, sir. One thing before you go, Inspector.
Yes, your ladyship.
What was Clive's motive for murdering Jacqueline Perdue?
He wanted to wed the glamorous Bibi Cavendish, but he wanted to do so with all his money in his possession. If Desmond Perdue were to blab to you about his dalliances with Bibi during the cruise, you would surely kick him out and sue him for separate maintenance. By marrying her and casting suspicion of her murder upon you, he killed 2 birds with 1 stone, as it were. You'd hardly be entitled to separate maintenances while languishing in jail, if not on the gallows.
Money! It's always about money. I should have known that be his motivation.
Well, Reggie, shall we go? With the most important going to prison, I don't suppose the maid's job is over anymore.
We can count on it. Roger Grimley hasn't let go of his embrace on her since she first arrived in his arms.
Why, Roddy, you do care!
Actually, I've had the hots for you ever since you walked into this house.
Oh, Roddy!
Mimi.
If the governor no longer wants to object, will you marry me, Zoe?
Oh, Alfie!
Will I? Oh, Maisie.
Prisoners, I'll have coffee waiting in the cabin. Ben, I believe he's occupied at the moment, Sergeant. Oh, it seems to be the takers.
But I say, I've just had a terrible bloodbook on Inspector Braddock's latest exploits, with Algie being engaged to Bibi but loving Chloe, and Lord Clive being married to Lady Monica but loving Bibi, and Mimosa engaged to Tom but actually loving Bradley. What will you call your book? The Bermuda Triangles!
Are they going to turn on the lights? Okay.